Hi everyone, my name is Allison and I am the Vintage Value Mama. Today I'm going to be talking about the 6 things that I would never buy online secondhand. I know a lot of people get a little weirded out by secondhand clothes. I have been thrifting for a while and nothing scares me at this point, basically. I'd wear bathing suits, underwear, shoes, sports bras, all kinds of things that other people have worn before. You just give them a good wash. It's really not that difficult. To give you an idea, when we had our daughter, we used cloth diapers for her. So that should tell you just how okay I am with other people's bodily fluids. But these are the things that even I wouldn't buy used online. The number one thing is designer items, handbags, scarves, whatever you want. If it's worth more than about 20 euros, I probably wouldn't feel comfortable buying or selling it online. If we're talking about vintage specifically, they've really been trying to push the designer goods in the last few years, and I understand why. Because the more something sells for, the bigger the percentage that Vinted gets to take from it. So they're making more money. And they did recently, I think last year, launch their item verification service where you can send your Louis Vuitton handbag in and it will be verified as an authentic Louis Vuitton handbag, and then the buyer can buy it with confidence. I still would not sell my Louis Vuitton handbag on Vinted. There just is not enough protection for the seller when it comes to these really expensive items, and you don't want to lose out on all that money. Of course, as a buyer, I also wouldn't buy these things on Vinted. The more something is worth, the more likely it is that it's been counterfeited and you're not actually getting a Louis Vuitton handbag. So, what can you do? If you want to sell something that's a designer good, I would say don't try and sell it on Vinted or eBay or anything like that. Look for a brick and mortar store where you can actually go talk to someone, let them inspect what the item actually looks like, and decide for themselves if it's authentic or not. So that would be like pawn shops, consignment stores. Now there's lots of vintage boutiques opening up, and I would really look into selling my things there rather than online. The second thing that I would never want to buy or sell on Vinted are electronics. And again, this is something that Vinted has really started pushing, but it's just not a good idea. For the same reasons as the designer goods, electronics are often a bit more expensive. There's a higher chance that someone's trying to counterfeit them somewhere, and with electronics, there's always the chance that something is going to break in shipping or that it's going to arrive safely and the buyer is going to be an idiot like myself who has no idea how to work these electronics and just says, "This is broken," and then you don't get your money. For me, again, there's just not enough protection in place for the seller. So, what can you do with your old PlayStation that you don't want anymore or something like that? I would recommend selling on a local buy and sell group. Here in Austria, the most popular would be Willhaben. In Germany, I know it's probably eBay Kleinanzeigen. In the UK, maybe like Facebook Marketplace. Something where the person can actually come and meet you, talk to you. You can gauge if they're going to actually be able to work the thing. They can ask you questions when they have them and actually maybe see the PlayStation up and running and know that it's a perfectly good one to buy. The third thing that even I wouldn't buy or sell on Vinted is cosmetics. Makeup, skin cream, anything like that. Now you might be thinking, hold on, Allison, it's fine. Vinted says that all the cosmetics have to be unused, so you don't have to worry about someone else's lips touching your lipstick or anything like that. They're all new. And even if it is new, which could or could not be true, I still don't recommend buying these things online. It's so easy for something like an eyeshadow palette to crumble and break when you try and ship it, and then the buyer is going to request a refund. It's also possible that things have expired. Makeup expires after like 6 months, I think, and things become less effective over time. So I would never want to buy any of those things secondhand, and you really don't want to sell them either, because then you're just going to end up with a dissatisfied buyer. What can you do instead? Unfortunately, not a lot. Maybe see if any of your friends and family want to take these cosmetics off your hands. I know it would suck to throw them away because I understand how expensive these things are, but there's just not a good way to sell them secondhand right now. Sort of similar in a way, the next thing I would never buy or sell online is safety equipment. Helmets, safety goggles, car seats, all of these things. It might still look like it's in perfect condition to you, but you never know if something has some microscopic fracture in it that's going to affect the structural integrity. Plastic degrades over time, and you really don't want someone getting injured in something that you sold them. Imagine how terrible that would feel. So, how can you sell these things instead? Again, I'm really not sure that you can. I know that it sucks to just throw them away, but it's just not worth it when we're talking about other people's safety. The fifth thing that even I wouldn't try and buy or sell online is anything trendy. So, sort of like designer items, these are going to be a bit more expensive. The buyer is going to be expecting a bit more when they arrive. I found this Lily Silk sweater on Vinted for 70 euros. It is a lot cheaper than buying a new Lily Silk sweater. But I don't care what Gwyneth Paltrow says. This sweater is like 10 times as expensive as other sweaters on Vinted. And it's not a 10 times better sweater. It may be like a 20% better sweater. The same, I saw this Stanley mug, because everybody needs a Stanley mug these days, for 33 euros, when you can buy just a normal, unbranded travel mug for like 3 euros. There's also the problem with counterfeiting out there. Think about if there's probably a warehouse in China somewhere with lots of Stanley mugs being shipped out all over the world, and why you want to pay 10 times more for that than you do for just a standard travel mug. What can you do as the seller? Again, I would say local buy and sell groups. I'm sure someone in your town would be more than happy to buy your old travel mug for a lot less money than they can get a new one. And then they can see if it's exactly what they want, if it actually is genuine, and they'll be much happier to buy it from you. The last thing that I wanted to cover today is fragile items. Coffee cups, mirrors, picture frames, plates. I really don't know why anyone would be buying these things from a place like Vinted. I think for about the same price, you can buy them just off the IKEA website and have professional packaging that's not going to break, and if something does break, customer service that will send you a new one like that. Remember that on Vinted specifically, if Vinted decides that your packaging was inadequate, then you do not get your money back after something breaks. And like I've been saying this whole time, that's not a lot of protection for the seller. So what can you do with your fragile items? I would take them to somewhere like a flea market where people can physically hold them on their lap as they drive home. It's not going to break. You're going to end up with a much happier customer, and at the end of the day, you're going to end up actually getting your money. So, those are the things that even I wouldn't buy or sell used online. Do you have something else you think needs to be added to the list? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to hear my opinion on what you should always buy secondhand, then watch this video next, and if you could take a moment to subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Bye!